bone marrow transplant.
He's a match.
That's wonderful.
Of the very few people that could be a match, it had to be him.
I have a daughter that I want to see grow up. Like, what do you want me to do? Beg you?
Laid out my condition, baby.
Let her go!
No one will ever come between you and I again. You hear me?
Welcome to another edition of my Toledo to the World show, and I am welcoming a very special guest today, a very special guest who is, in my opinion, qualified to speak about filmmaking and production because he has several movies under his belt. And so we're going to get into the show, and we're going to talk to Mr. Mark Cummings. Mr. Mark Cummings is a native of Toledo, and he currently resides in Columbus, not too far from us, hop, skip, and a jump away. So we're going to get into a discussion with him regarding his aspirations. We're going to talk about his new film, and we'll talk, maybe touch on a couple of the old films. So Mr. Mark Cummings, welcome to my studio.
Hey, thank you, Deborah Sue, for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely happy to have you on. The last time I actually saw you, I was in Columbus. I came down to see the religious movie. Is it Holy
Holy
Hustle?
Hustle. Oh yeah, Holy Hustle. Yeah.
And I'm
that was far from religious.
We had a lot of Toledo people in that movie, so I was really surprised to see all the familiar faces. But I'm trying to tell you, I literally enjoyed myself when I came into the theater. I was very surprised to see how many people. You actually had you had a lot of support, and I think you actually had a second showing because I think I came to the second one.
Yeah, that one we sold out the entire theater, 8 theaters that day.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, so that was probably the biggest crowd we had so far.
Yeah. Before we get into our discussion, do you think you'll have a Holy Hustle 2, 3?
No, I'm not big on sequels.
Okay, because you know what, when that show ended, I thought about several different offshoots that you could have had. Maybe I'll talk to you about that. You can put me on as a co-producer if we do Holy Hustle 2.
All right, there it is.
Okay, there it is. Okay. So as mentioned, let's go ahead and let's talk about some of the things that you have going right now. You are currently producer, director, and filmmaker. And I think I counted like 7 films under your belt already. How many?
Right. Yeah, we have 6 feature films. We just released When 3 Become 1. And then we have 1 short film.
Okay. And with regard to movie making, okay, because you're from Toledo, you're a Toledo native, you know, as we spoke earlier before the show went on, you went into the services. What actually had you set your sights on movie making and filmmaking?
Yeah, it was a kind of crazy route, I guess, because, you know, I'm like anybody else in Toledo. I grew up, went to Macomb, played high school, played basketball there, so I wanted to go to college and play basketball like everybody else. But I had a son before my senior year of high school, so I ended up going to the Army. But even then, when I moved to Columbus, I started doing commercial work. I was actually in commercials, print work, things like that. I started doing some plays with a friend of mine, Darlene Carson. And next thing you know, I started writing poetry books. Then I wrote a novel. And one day I was working on my second novel called The Comforter. And I saw in one of our little local papers, there was a 10-week screenwriting class. This was in 07. Mm-hmm. So I took the screenwriting class twice, fell in love with it. And then that's where it all began. And in 2009, we filmed our first feature film, Best Supporting Daddy.
Okay, that's interesting. First of all, as a Toledo native who ran away from us and moved to Columbus, we're not gonna hold that against you, okay? Because you're always welcome to come back home, which I'm sure you do for the reunions.
Absolutely.
Okay, and as a polar bear, I'm not gonna be too mad at you for being, you know, over at that school on the other side of the tracks. But now, let me ask you something. For someone, you said you publish books. Have you done any more books recently? And do you have them up on sites or platforms?
Nah, so I self-published the books. There was 2 poetry books. And then there was a novel called To Play or Not to Play. And I had self-published them under a company I had called Urban Inspirational Books. And but like I said, once 2007 hit and I learned screenwriting, that was it. I dropped everything else.
That was it for you, huh?
Mm-hmm,
so for aspiring filmmakers, what kind of, I guess I'm gonna get really frank here, what kind of investment is required for someone who would like to get into making a film?
You know, although technology has changed a lot and you know, we have more access to things and people are making movies with iPhones. So the investment isn't as big as it probably was in the past prior to me getting into it, but it's still very expensive. You know, you still can spend $20,000-$30,000 on a movie, and that's without even paying your actors or paying your crew or anything. just
Okay.
trying to get location and props and, craft services is a huge one because if you don't pay people, you better feed them well.
Okay.
So yeah, it's very expensive, and then even the equipment. We don't use like Reds or anything like that. We use DSLR cameras. Matter of fact, we use Panasonic GH5 and
Okay.
GH6s. We just make sure that we get nice cinema lenses, Rokinon cinema lenses, which are also expensive.
And
help
how
with the
many
look.
how many cinematographers do you hire when you have like 2 or 3 of them on the set shooting different angles?
Yeah, so you have 2 different cameramen. We run 2 cameras, but we have one director of photography, the DP, and mine is Tori. She's a female, of course. She's in charge of she and I collaborating on the shot types and everything, and then she's assigning the cameraman on what shots they're going to do and everything.
Okay, that's very interesting. So for your aspiring film artists out there or wannabe artists out there, you are going to have some investment money, obviously, okay? Because you're going to have to buy the proper equipment to make a decent film, and then you are also going to have to there's a time consumption here, obviously, because Mark, you and I talked earlier about you working a full-time job and having a family, and I'm quite sure shooting a film of your magnitudes of the ones that you have produced takes a lot of time away from the family, right?
Oh yeah, it really does, and we're called what I like to term as weekend warriors, right? We shoot our films on the weekends.
Yeah.
But even then, people come on set and we shoot all day, and most people that's all they see, but they don't get a chance to take a peek behind the scenes on the other 5 days a week when I'm doing other things that's preparing for the next weekend and everything. So it's definitely a 7-day a week job, and but when you love it and have the passion that I have for it, it's not really a job.
So do you find yourself at work distracted? Because you're shooting a film. Do you find yourself focused off on that every now and then, drifting off to
all the time?
All the time, yeah.
All the time, yeah.
Okay.
You at work and trying to hurry up and get done with those tasks so I can duck off into this room and grab my laptop and get some work done, and all the time. Especially again, when you're more passionate about that, you can't help but have it on your mind all the time. But then as a writer, I write the majority of my films as well, so there's times I may be sitting there and I'm jotting down some notes for character notes or something I want to happen in a certain scene and things as well.
Okay. Sharice Norwood, hey cousin. I can see the messages that people are sending down here at the bottom. Okay. So let me ask you something. When you gather your storylines, because we talked about sometime when you're at work you get distracted. When you do your storylines, do you find that you change them very much as you think on them? Like when you're at work and you say, I have this happening this way, but I think I'm going to change that. How does that storyline or theme develop for you?
Again, that happens all the time too. So typically, an idea will just hit me. I always say it dropped in my spirit, right? And or in the case of Holy Hustle, a friend of mine one time said, "Hey man, what happened if this, and this?" And I said, "Wow, that's a good idea. That's a good concept." So I build off that concept. So you get an idea, and then you start thinking about characters that you can have in this concept. And then what you want to do is make sure you have your characters are layered characters, not just stale characters. And then you got to think about conflicts to put them in and everything, all those things. And of course, you have an idea, and I do an outline. So I have certain things I need to happen at 5-minute mark, 10-minute mark, 17-minute mark, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, what happens is as you're going on, and then you say, okay, you know what, I like this. And then something hits you like, okay, I need to go back and change that because it feels better here.
Yeah.
But I also always say there's 3 different stories. There's the one you write, the one you shoot, and the one you also edit because things change all the time.
Yeah, that just amazes me, and I would imagine that Holy Hustle wasn't too far off from reality, because some of you probably didn't have to make up a whole lot of that at all, because some of that is people we actually experience probably more than half of that.
I used to be heavy in church, right? And you'll be amazed at the number of things I have seen. And again, it's not a knock on good churches or good preachers.
No, it was funny
using that character to just kind of bring attention to some of the things you see actually go on sometimes, and just do it in a comedic way was.
That one had the whole theater laughing. Sharice, if you haven't seen Holy Hustle, you got to go see it, girl. You got to pick it.
That was on Tubi.
It's on Tubi now, Sharice. So go look at it's called Holy Hustle, and just go see it. Just go watch it. Trust me. And then you give me your feedback later, okay? It's a really good. I actually went to see that one up in Columbus at the theater. It was very good. So do you have, because we talked about your development, do you have like a committee of people or a group around you that decides what the final cut will look like, or do you just unilaterally make those decisions on your own?
Yeah, I pretty much make the decision on my own because, as the writer, but I do allow input, but I always have the final say, what I like to call final cut. And
Yeah.
my editor, a guy named Tennessee, he's great at going back and going. I mean, he'll go through so much footage just to find a certain look
Yeah.
that he's looking for one character. So I appreciate that as well. So I give him a lot of leeway too to make some decisions as well.
So out of the 7 movies that you made, which one do you feel was most successful? That gave you a bigger bottom line, or that gave you the break that you needed in the industry?
Premeditated to date was probably the most successful because initially we had a red box deal with a different distributor, and that's a horror story. Nonetheless, he changed the name, changed the cover and art and everything. So we made a decent penny off of that from Redbox, but it was also a disaster because he really tried to force like what was going on with our young black men being killed by cops. He tried to make that frame that storyline that way, and it wasn't about that.
Okay.
But then also it's been on Tubi. Premeditated is also on Tubi, and it's been there for a while as well. So I would say it's probably been the most successful thus far.
Okay. That's now. How do you actually get your film? Do you have to go to like film festivals or what have you to have your film nominated for like Oscars and Emmy and all that? How's that work?
Yeah, you're talking higher. We're still low budget or no budget independent, so that's those bigger films that get invited to like Sundance and Cannes and all those big film festivals to get that type of stuff. Now I will say all of our films are award-winning films because we have been selected and won awards at many like regional film festivals. Like Charlotte Black Film Festival is a huge one. We attend. G Cup, the Greater Cleveland Urban Film Festival. I'm in one this week actually. The Detroit Trinity International Film Festival. So yeah, it's quite a bit of them that we usually submit to and get selected and end up winning some type of award.
Yeah. And you know what? To me, it sounds like your industry is not too different than the music industry. A lot of it, and a lot of artists prefer to stay independent versus looking at, going up higher into labels and looking for the Grammys and whatnot, because it's an awful lot involved. And you start talking about a bigger budget at that point for everything you do it from that point. And then everybody has to be in a PRO and so forth. It's very intriguing and interesting, but very, very, it's a full-time job.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Honestly, I'm still waiting on the big break because my goal is I want to be able to pay my team. I want to be able to pay my actors, and because they all work hard, they dedicate their time and everything to me for free, throughout the entire summer on the weekends. And so, the best thing I can do for them is not only put out a great product, but even give them some type of monetary, gain.
Yeah. Have any of your actors and actresses gone on to, a different platform, a higher platform, once someone has caught them in one of your movies?
Yeah, we got some people out in LA, like Maurice Hall. He was a former Ohio State football player, and he's out in LA. Matter of fact, he went out there 2010, I guess, while we were 2009, 2010, while we were still shooting our first movie. He's doing real well out there. He's been on a lot of TV shows, House, and you name it, he's been on a lot of things. Another guy by the name of Arden Banks, he's out there and he's doing a whole lot of commercial work. I saw him on some of them copper tone, whatever commercials. So yeah, quite a few people leave here and they end up going out to LA and stuff.
Okay, that's absolutely amazing. It's a very intriguing film industry that you are in. Very intriguing, and all of us want to be it. Not all of us, but most of us want to do some kind of acting of some sort. How do you determine who to put in your movies? Do you hold acting auditions, or or you have your friends that you put in there, or how does that happen?
Well, I mean, we always have casting calls, right? But because I've been doing it so long now, I can write a movie, or I can start a script, and I have certain people in mind that I work with and say, yeah, he's perfect for this role, she's perfect for this role. So it's a little bit of both. Always casting calls because I always like to have fresh faces too.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I like your whole concept. I'll be honest with you, and your products speak very well of you because, like I said, so far as the ones I've seen, I'm very, very intrigued. So let's get in and let's talk about the new movie that you have. We're going to get into the juice of the matter now, or meat of the matter, I should say. Let's talk about When Three Become One. Don't tell us the whole storyline, but let's talk a little bit about what that one is about.
All right, so When Three Become One is a kind of like a drama thriller a little bit, and it's about a young man whose wife has just been diagnosed with like a rare form of leukemia, and so she has rare blood markers, and right now the only person that's a perfect match for her is the man she had an affair with and fell in love with.
Wow!
And so now her husband got to decide whether to let this man save her life with this transplant, this bone marrow transplant, or let her die. So there's some twists and turns in there too. So it's not as simple.
Yeah, there's some twists and turns in there because you know what? That's a heck of a decision to have to make. I mean, most of us would say if we'll take a transfer from someone we don't know, You know, why would we not take a transfer in any instance? But in this case, you know, once you take something from somebody that you already had a relationship with, the whole dynamic is changed at that point.
But not only that, not only just had a relationship with, but somebody you fell in love with.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
So that's and you know, imagine me as a man or us as men feeling like, you know, it's bad enough we felt like somebody done touched our queen and these things, and now all of a sudden this man she fell in love with can potentially save her life, and now would you want her, you know, would you want him back now? Or so there's a lot of things going on in this man's head at the same time.
You know, it seems like it would be a simplistic answer, but it really is not. It really isn't, because, you know, when you talk about the person you love and something coming down to their life, you know, you would almost do anything for them. But now you have someone, and let's be honest, the person that is actually capable of saving her life is really a narcissistic, you know, overbearing, I'm not going anywhere kind of guy, right?
Yeah, somewhat. I guess.
You but see, all men are like, no, I'm just kidding. No,
I want to say, so you about to end this conversation.
Right, I'm not gonna get us in trouble. I'm not gonna get myself in trouble like that, because all men are not like that. But I think when men do when they get married and they have a bond with a woman, it becomes a whole different scenario when you start talking about having to invite, you know, a competitive party back into the relationship, you know, and then it's a life or death situation. So I kind of get that.
Yeah, you know, but the husband, I mean, the husband's very honorable, you know, because, you know, he made a decision to make his decision, which I want to get into. Yeah. But, you know, he could have just walked away. Mm-hmm. But, you know, love, and really the thing to me was love over everything. Because when you watch it, you'll notice not only the wife, but the husband, his love for his family, and then this man, his love for this woman. He would do anything for this woman, which you'll see even kill
she found a man who was truly in love with her, and unfortunately she still had this other relationship at her back that ended up being you know, somewhat controversial for her. And, you know, I'm not gonna tell the whole line, but it ended up being controversial for her, you know, because you know, there were conditions wanted on the other side on top of that. So it's interesting. So let's talk about when and now that one is onto it. Are you gonna do that one in theaters?
You know what? We just had a big red carpet release on June 1st here in Columbus, and right now it's on sale. It's on DVDs on Amazon, but we're still waiting for it to hit Amazon Prime, and then we also have it. Our distributor sent it out to some other platforms, so right now it's just kind of pending. So I don't know exactly when it's going to be available for streaming.
Yeah, because, you know, I don't think I've ever seen a movie with that kind of a storyline in it before. I'm really surprised that you didn't go that route, because that's something to really think about. That's intriguing. You see a lot of movies where you can almost predict what they're going to be. This one was completely different. I don't think I've seen anything like it before.
Okay, that's my goal. Sometimes, you know, it all depends on the genre. Sometimes the genre you almost have to make things predictable because it's like the formula. But, you know, even if you make it predictable, my goal is to sometimes always throw in some type of twist somewhere.
Okay. Hey, Jonathan, thank you for joining us. Appreciate your support, sir. Lazy King Saracon. Okay, Mid-Ohio and Cleveland in the house. First time viewing me live. Thank you, and thank you for your support. I appreciate you, King. Appreciate you very much. I hope you're enjoying the show tonight. Okay, so a couple more questions. And in particular, the film we just talked about, When Three Become One. Mm-hmm. Is that something that kind of turned around in your head? Where did you get the concept from?
Oh wow, yeah, that's one of those ones that kind of dropped in my spirit again, and then, you know, I just let marinate on it and start building on it. And yeah, I really can't tell you exactly like a certain event or something happened to me. Just like, okay, yeah, I like that concept.
Okay, that's amazing. And then how did you I don't want to give too much of this movie away, because yes, Jonathan, you do have to check out his films, and this is gonna be a good one too, but you definitely have to go check out Holy Hustle and Premeditated. Yeah, those are both on Tubi, Jonathan. Go check those out.
We also have a Family Affair. A Family Affair is another comedy that's on Tubi as well.
And I think I related really, really well to Holy Hustle because I saw so many familiar faces in it. That's probably why I keep talking about that one. But yeah, they got to check those out. Thank you all for joining us and supporting Toledo to the World. And although Mark is not in Toledo right now, he is a Toledo native, and we get viewership all over the place. You know, we go look at our analytics and we track who all is watching, and we have a lot of people watching across the United States. So we're shouting him out as a Toledo native to the rest of the world. So all of you people that are watching and supporting the channel, please go check out these movies, okay? Because he's a fantastic movie director and filmmaker. Appreciate it. Jonathan says, Mark, you should consider submitting some of your films to the FLIX Fest Film Festival.
It's on
Have
the
you ever
talk.
heard of that?
No, I haven't heard.
Okay.
I think you may have texted to me one day, so I'll talk
Okay.
to him about that.
Okay, very good. Yeah, because Jonathan is he's getting into some things, and Jonathan is a really good guy. He's one of my marketing and promo professionals that's on my team as well. So you got to check him out. Okay, so we are at the 6:23 hour. I still have to get through the rest of these questions that I have for you. What's the goal, the overall goal of what you want to do as far as filmmakers is concerned? We talked about it a little bit earlier off camera, but what is your end destination, if you will?
So my goal for Walk on Water Entertainment, that's my production company. I'd like to build a studio here in Columbus, Central Ohio area, and I just want to make movies full time. Not have to work another job somewhere, be a professional production company where everybody's getting paid, and then we're putting out movies more often instead of doing it like we're doing now. Because honestly, I may work on a movie every other summer or something, or 2 summers later or something. So no, I need to. My distributor also said I need to start giving them more projects.
He needs some more material. Exactly. So you being a Black professional man in the filmmaking industry already, which is rare, although we do have a lot more minorities getting into the role of filmmakers and with everything to production and everything. We have a couple of folks here in Toledo, a couple more people in Toledo, because you're from Toledo, that are actually getting into filmmaking themselves. Do you see that you will have an opportunity to mentor young people or to mentor anyone that's trying to put their foot in the water of filmmaking?
Oh yeah, definitely. My goal is to I have a curriculum I put together called a Walk on Water Filmworks Academy that I want to be able to find some funding or grants to help younger, school-age children with, trying to pursue the same field. And also, there's people here locally, like I'm helping a guy right now, a friend of mine, produce his movie. And then I got another friend, and she want me to help produce her she has a series she's trying to do. So she want me to help produce the pilot. Now, I'll be honest with you, after that, I think I have to get to a different point of how I help people, because it's really taken away from me producing other things I need to produce. So I think I really just got to come to a point where I'm teaching people how to do certain things to make sure they're more organized during their filming and stuff, instead of being there on set all day, every day. And then I'm working another job and still doing that. So it takes away from a Walk on Water, producing other material. Because right now, about 6 years ago, me and my screenwriting teacher and another friend of mine, we wrote a concept I had called Will You Marry My Wife? And our distributor said BET was kind of interested in a holiday movie. So we turned around and made that a Christmas movie. So I really want to get to a point where I can produce that, but it's definitely a higher budget movie. Yeah. And, so that's probably my next goal.
Okay, I love that. Now, I actually have a friend he's on LA, actually. He works on some of the bigger budget films as well. And one of the things that I had brought up to him that I bring up to you as well is, when do we actually put something that's usually not geared to minorities? When do we actually start showing them the way to get there, starting as early as high school, and college and so forth? And filmmaking is not really something that, that they put in our education systems. And so I would like to see for our minority men such as yourself to maybe think about doing something like that. Here I am, I'm on a spiel right now, as you can tell, but but we are at 6:26 hours. So what advice would you give aspiring producers and movie makers?
I know it sounds cliche, but you got to be passionate about it, and you also have to study and do as much research as you can, because it's ever changing. Technology is constantly changing, especially in this field. And like I mentioned earlier when we were off camera, that everything is easily accessible now. Yeah. So you really have to study and really have to be passionate about it, and do your research. Study people. I really can't say I study any particular director or anything, but I love movies. So so I just study movies. So whatever you need to do, just make it happen. And if you can't find someone to mentor you, that's good, because I didn't go to film school. I learned on the job training. I studied a lot. I read a lot. And so when it came time for me to produce that first movie in 2009, I had found a bunch of like-minded people, and we put it together and made it happen. And each movie, we just got better. Sound quality got better, picture quality got better. And that's always the goal, just to get better every time you do it. And don't settle. I think sometimes people find that they have a hit or something, and then they think that formula is always going to work, and it's not. You always have to try to grow and get better every time you set out to do it.
Yeah, and you'll probably fail more times than make it, but isn't that the key to success? Determination and stick to it, and then trust in your abilities and your skills.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It took us. We did 3 movies before we even got any distribution. So, we did 3, we got distribution, and the next 3, well, we had 3
Yeah.
without it. The next 3 we had distribution.
Yeah.
So, this one right now is, like I said, we're trying to go through the whole distribution change, which unfortunately Tubi didn't accept us, but we got a lot of other options out there for us as well.
Yeah, well, too bad for Tubi because they should have. They missed out. Let's just say it that way, okay? So for your movie as well as the rest of your productions, how can people find you and where should they follow you?
So I do have a website where they can go in and go back and look at all of our old stuff. It's a walkonwaterent.com. So www, of course, walkonwaterent.com. Then, of course, I'm on Facebook and all the other social media, Mark A. Cummings Senior, and Instagram. I'm not doing everything, though. That's why I need a publicist.
Yeah, there you
go.
go.
Help me go out there because I'm too busy to even get online and do a whole lot of promoting and marketing and stuff as well.
There you go. There you go. Well, you have family. They'll get to that point one time as well. Everybody's busy, though, working and still trying to pitch in and help. Yeah. So any special shout outs that you'd like to give before we wrap our show up?
Yeah, I definitely want to thank you for the opportunity to be on air, and shout out all my friends and family back home in Toledo, and then everyone here in Columbus has been supporting me because, again, 6 sellouts. Every time we did a premiere here, all of them sold out. So that's because of the support I get, not only from people here in Columbus, but also you guys that come from Toledo and other parts of the country to come support. So thank you.
That's right. Well, I'm not gonna say I'm your biggest fan, but I am definitely a fan because I would imagine your family are your biggest fans. But I'm definitely a fan, Mark Cummings. I wish you nothing but success in what you do and all your future endeavors. And next time you have that red carpet, send that invitation my way now.
I got you. I appreciate you. Thanks for the invite.
Okay, I appreciate you as well. Okay, everybody, that's going to wrap up our show for today. We are at our 6:30 mark. As you know, we're only a half an hour show. This show will air on Toledo to the World and Devereux, as well as Instagram and YouTube. Okay, so make sure if you missed any segment of the show today, or if you want some more information, make sure you check those out. Okay, and in the meantime, make sure you join us for another great show next Thursday at 6 o'clock on right here. Okay, so make sure you like and subscribe over on YouTube because I need the subscribers. Okay, appreciate you all, and thank you all for your comments in the comment section. I appreciate your support there as well. We're gonna wrap it up for tonight, and hope everybody has a beautiful night tonight. And Mark, thank you so much again for joining us. We'll talk later.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.